Welcome back, Shalligators. Today we are going to talk about Khloe Kardashian's bikini Photoshop fail. It's the unflattering photo heard around the world. A picture of her at like her family's house, just chilling out in a leopard print bikini that she was trying to get scrubbed from the internet, to the point that the Kardashian family was sending cease and desists that it's an unauthorized photo, it's unauthorized. I don't think photos have to be authorized. I mean, it was clearly taken by someone in her family and posted. I don't know. The legalities of this are very murky and weird because truly the law has not caught up with social media. So there like is no precedent for this. So a lot of times when people make threats, they're basing it on like absolutely no statute whatsoever. Keep that in mind. He's got a point. So we're going to break down both sides of this. And I'm going to tell you a little bit of advice, how to avoid sort of a similar fate. We're going to break it all down. But before we do, just want to remind you to like and subscribe. I also really appreciate comments. Comments down here really help boost me in the algorithm, makes money. And if you're a shallow hater, hey, and you just stop by to like talk trash, your comment makes me money too, boo. YouTube don't care. Also, if you want to join me on flays.com, it's our uncensored ad-free platform. We talk about blowjobs, foreskin, story times, all sorts of stuff. There's also Evil Week over there. And you know what? I'm going to do another Evil Week. Do you guys want a second Evil Week? I know we usually do it, around Halloween, but I'm just so brimming with evil. I just want to let it out. So I want to know your Evil Week suggestions. Also, please check out the previous Evil Week playlist here on YouTube to see what topics we have covered. And like I said, head over to Flays if you want to watch this year's ones because they're good. I mean, they're good, but we can always do better and be more evil. That's how evil goes. So Khloe, all right, it kind of started a debate about body image, photoshopping, because I think all of us, we all have like very strong opinions on this, but those two opinions are like diametrically opposed. At least I do. On one hand, I completely understand where Khloe is coming from. Like the statement that she issued, like about how people have talked about her body over the years and how it's warped her sense of who she is. Like I get that. And I think all of us women, famous or not, understand how much it hurts, truly how corrosive it is when people talk about our bodies and when there's this ideal that we just don't feel like we can live up to. However, when we think about people who embody an ideal that no one can live up to because their ideal is crafted through surgery and Photoshop, who do we think of? The Kardashians themselves. I was not of this mindset. I was honestly very team Khloe on this until I heard this one comedian, and I can't find the clip.
Khloe has this picture of her come out, and it's not perfectly photoshopped like the rest of her pictures. Yeah. And she's like, it's just so hard for me to keep up with societal expectations of a woman's body. You fucking wretched bitch. You and your family have been making all of our wives and girlfriends feel insecure every single day for photoshopping your images, carving up your fucking skeletons, shooting shit in your body to create unrealistic standards for women, making every woman on the planet that can't afford that shit or wasn't born even close to the way that you fraudulently look, making them feel like shit and made billions of dollars in the process, and then you're gonna act like the victim of your own creation. Mr. Frankenstein, if you get killed by the robot, that's on you.
You are Dr. Frankenstein murdered by your monster, right? You have brought this creation to life and now it's killed you. Holy shit, is this not the definition of irony? So this photo was apparently taken by her grandmother. Do you not just feel so bad for MJ? Because they're so mad at her, but they can't be mad at her because she's old and she doesn't know and she doesn't care. It's this isn't her fucking fault. I'm just very curious, who posted this? Who initially posted this photo? Because everyone who even comes within 10 feet of them has to sign an NDA, a non-disclosure. And it certainly includes don't post photos without our consent. I mean, we all have that non-disclosure within our group of friends, do we not? Alexis, can we talk about the photo you tagged me in? Can we talk about the photo you tagged me in without my consent? I've never cared about consent except when it comes to photos. I can fight off anything else in my life. Do not just tag me willy-nilly. So I wonder if it was an assistant who was on her way out and was like, fuck you, and went scorched earth. I don't know. I don't know how it got out. Maybe someone sent it to a reporter. I don't know. But she doesn't look bad. That's the thing. I don't think she looks bad. It's just but she also doesn't look the way she portrays herself on the internet. She doesn't. We covered this a few months ago, maybe might have been last year, in quarantine with Aubrey O'Day. Remember when someone caught her in Palm Springs looking so different? I mean, if you go to her Instagram, which is truly like a fever dream of absolute madness, it's like a fever dream from a gay disco. It's very bizarre. She's like this photoshopped, bizarre creature, like a vague avatar of herself. I look more like her photoshopped images than she looks like her photo. It's just crazy. And so we did a whole video on how to be confident online and how to like feel okay with your body. So check that out. That covers a lot of this kind of, that's a hair and it's floating around. It covers a lot of what we're going to talk about here, but we're going to expound on it a little. So this brouhaha just like wouldn't settle down because she was sending out these cease and desists, and like the internet always wins. You know, you can't send a cease and desist to everyone. Are you really going to litigate against everyone? Come on, girl. And on what precedent? On what precedent? Your Honor, they posted a photo of me I didn't like. It's like, what? The law has not caught up to social media. So, you know, if people are citing statutes, they probably don't exist. So just keep that in mind. So then KHLOE went on an Instagram live to show her body. This was perhaps one of the worst things she could do because, as so many people pointed out, the video seemed to be photoshopped, like an app. I guess you can do that. I don't know. Do you guys know? Is there an app for that? I don't know. Fuck, someone tell me, man. I'd be thriving over here on YouTube. Hello, Shallon. But this is, you know what? This is a point. I always think it's so silly when celebrities who live their life on camera, you know, as I do, then post these wildly photoshopped images of themselves. Different Facetune overload, Photoshop overload, blah, 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 blah. It's like, who in the hell are you trying to fool? Don't you know that we all know what you look like? Like, yeah, it's tempting to just be like, boop, oh, I'm a totally different person. I look like an anime character. But it's like, whenever, even if I've just like been messing around an app, it's like, what would I look like with eyes the size of grapefruits? It's like, I'm not fooling anybody. You guys know what I look like. You know what I look like. Come on. So when KHLOE does it, I'm like, why are you doing this? Of course, people are going to make fun of you. But her point, and in her statement, she tells us why she's doing it. Let us read. Hey guys, this is me and my body, unretouched and unfiltered. Sus, said many people. The photo that was posted this week was beautiful. Do you think that? Okay. I do. I think she's great. But as someone who's struggled with body image her whole life, when someone takes a photo of you that isn't flattering or in bad lighting or doesn't capture your body the way it is after working so hard to get it to this point and then shares it to the world, you should have every right to ask for it not to be shared, no matter who you are. Agree. You know, I get that. And like, again, I think her body looks good. Her abs are shredded. She looks a little like unsmoothed. Okay. Girls, though, stop taking your bikini bottoms and hiking them up as far as you can. You are not Bella Hadid. It doesn't even look great on Bella Hadid. I lived at one point in the 80s and the 90s because it carried into the 90s. And there was something called long butt. If you watch any movie from the 80s, you're like, everyone's ass is so flat and long, like this, like an outside of an egg. Do you know why? That's because they were pulling everything up as far as they can. Your butt starts where your waistband is. So if you don't want a butt that starts like vertebrae C4, pull the things down. I promise you're going to look better. I promise you. She went on. KHLOE went on to address the pressure, constant ridicule, and judgment she's experienced. KHLOE's the fat sister. KHLOE's the ugly sister. Her dad must not be her real dad because she looks so different. The only way she could have lost that weight must have been from surgery. Should I go on? You never quite get used to being judged and pulled apart and told how unattractive you are. But I will say, if you hear anything enough, then you'll start to believe it. This is how I've been conditioned to feel, that I'm not beautiful enough just being me. She acknowledges she loves a good filter, good lighting, and edit here and there, and won't apologize for it. My body, my image, and how I choose to look and what I want to share is my choice. It's not for anyone else to decide or judge what's acceptable anymore. I agree with her, like wholeheartedly on every single point here. If our body is not sovereign, what is? What is? And you could extend that if images of our body is not sovereign, like that's an extension of me, that's a version of me, right? It's a digital, electronic print, whatever version of me, I should have the right to control that. However, counterpoint, you're a public figure and there's a million things you don't get to control. You know, I get that. Don't you think I would take down every hate video about me if I could? Who wouldn't? We want to control the messaging about our product. And for people like Chloe and for people like me, you know, because we're in the same level. No. Our product is ourselves. Our product is our body. It's not like we sit around and we're woodworkers and we make little wooden mallards and it's like, oh, don't post that photo of me. Just focus on the mallards. Focus on the mallards. We are the mallards. We're our own woodworking creation, right? And some people chip away more at the beak than the others. So I get what she's saying. And I also honestly, stop and think. No matter what you think about the Kardashians, like the people who hate the Kardashians so much, like why? Why? Because they've turned a blowjob into $1 billion? Have you? Me neither. I'm not bitter about it. I've let it go. Okay? But you can't knock the hustle that these girls have gone through. And speaking of body image, they have helped my body image a lot. It's almost easier to quantify who helps your body image versus who hurts it. Because I feel like when we think of who hurts our body image, it's everyone. It's the guy I hooked up with sophomore year who told me my boobs were too small. It's the Victoria's Secret models with these enormous tits and 100-pound body. How is that possible? It's the doctor who's like, is it time for Botox? It could be a million different things in a million different places. But, I'm trying to focus on the positive. And when I think of who's helped my body image, it has been the Kardashians. When I was little, the hot chicks on the scene, Britney Spears, Paris Hilton, Jessica Simpson. Britney, and I didn't look like any of them, okay? I did not look like any one of these women. Britney was fit and tiny and so athletic. Not me. Paris Hilton is skin and bone. She's a noodle. Jessica's tits on a stick, huge boobs, tiny everything else. And it's not me. Had Kim Kardashian been around, original body Kim Kardashian, V1, I would have been oh my God, that's my body. You guys have seen my body. And when I say I'm built like a Kardashian, I am a Kardashian original, not current. That wasn't the wave then. That wasn't cool. That wasn't a thing. Guys always liked that, but that wasn't what was represented to me in media. And that's not, so therefore it's it was almost inconsequential what guys liked. Because guys were I just like a female, they fucking didn't know. But had I been young when Kim was the sexiest woman in the world, every guy wanted her. That would have been honestly a game changer for me. It really would have been. So I credit them a lot with helping, I hate this word, normalize, but normalize hips, butt. But I think we can agree that it's gotten out of control. And what was once a good thing, hey, curvy, thick women. Yeah, not six-pack abs, soft and curvy. That was revolutionary. It isn't throughout history. Historically, that is the thing, if you look at sculptures, whatever. But now it's it's gone so far to the other side where it's does Kim Kardashian have a waist or does she have a thorax? She looks like an insect. Her proportions are impossible. So on one hand, I give the Kardashians a ton of credit. And I also, like I said, I get where Chloe's coming from. Think about the things that people have said to her. I'll always remember watching, it was Chloe and Kim take something, take Adderall, the Hamptons, whatever. And Chloe was the judge in a Khloe Kardashian drag competition. Men dressed up as her to make fun of her. Perhaps not with malicious intent, but who wants to have a face that's oh, a guy could easily imitate you? That's not a compliment. And she was a very good sport. And I remember watching that and being dude, I wouldn't go to a Shallon Lester drag show. I'd put a bullet in my head. That would be tough. People always have said really nasty things about her. And again, no matter what you think about her, that shouldn't be the price of admission for her to go to work every day. Especially, I feel so bad for her, especially having Kim as this perfect older sister. And she's huh. She just feels like this potato and she's not. I love her. I think she's so funny and she's so clever and she's so real. And that's why I get so annoyed that she's back with Tristan. I'm like, wow, like, I think you're the coolest one, girl. Like, you're worth so much more than this. But when we hear what she has to say, like, I fundamentally believe I'm not attractive. Who is more susceptible to a fuckboy than that? When we look back on when we have gotten bamboozled, conned, lied to by anyone, I mean, a friend, a boyfriend, anybody, we were at a low point. And certainly, what's lower than feeling gross about your body? Can you imagine if you've ever gone through anything weight related, anything face related, you don't feel pretty, your skin's bad, your teeth are bad, whatever. Can you imagine if there were people out there, hundreds of thousands, validating your absolute worst fears about yourself? Like, it makes me choked up to even say, like, that's awful. That's fucking awful, dude. That sucks. That's awful. That's awful. That's awful. And, you know, we can all look at Khloe and be, it's like, she doesn't even know these people. Like, it shouldn't get to her. Would it get to you? Of course, girl, of course. You don't think so? Try it. Pop off to me in the comment section. Say something mean to me. You'll see what I can say back and see if it makes your day or not. Of course it's going to affect her. You know, it's just the noise of it all. However, we got to go back to what that comedian said, right? Khloe is simply a victim of her own creation. Who photoshops more than the Kardashians? Who surgerizes more than the Kardashians? How deep can our well of sympathy for someone caught up in their own machination, caught in their own web of lies, how deep can it really go? Man makes a point. One thing that I always think when I see like Kylie's Photoshop fails, it's like, you people have already had so much surgery and you're still Photoshopping? When will it be enough? I get lasers, I get Botox, I get that stuff so I don't have to Photoshop. So I don't have to, because I want to look as good in photos as I do in real life and vice versa. I don't want there to be a huge quantum schism between one and the other. I can't imagine if I was putting my body through all that and still like, pull my waist in 4 more inches. Like, what? But it becomes addictive. This is the problem. It becomes addictive. You start Photoshopping yourself and it doesn't stop. I'm friends with a fantastic plastic surgeon, Dr. Laura Devgon. Definitely follow her on Instagram. I mean, she is truly like the genius behind some of your favorite faces. She won't say who, but she does Mara Tegan, who is the lips on the Kylie lip kit. Like, she is Kylie's lip model. So if you think you want Kylie's lips, you don't. You want Mara Tegan's. But like Mara's very open about this. It's not a HIPAA violation. But Laura was saying one time, she's like, there's this phenomenon of people wanting to look like their Snapchat filters. You put a filter on, and you're like, oh my God, I'm so much better. My cheekbones are 2 inches higher. My eyes are enormous. I look like an alien. People of Earth, right? You have that perfect triangle, big lips. And people come in and they're like, make me look like this. And she does. And they go back and they put the filter on again. And they're more extreme and more extreme. And it becomes a slippery slope where you're never done. So what's the takeaway here? What's the takeaway here? Because like I said, I get both sides of what's going on. I said, we've talked a lot about body image and stuff with Aubrey O'Day. I've spoken about it at length, with my own issues. And I was thinking as I was like putting on my makeup, I'm like, what's the advice here? It strikes me that Khloe is in this job, she's in this role that she fundamentally doesn't like. I wonder how much better her body image would be if she took 6 months off the internet. And I mean, no posting, no input either. No scrolling, no looking, no nothing. If she went to like Vanuatu and like surfed for 6 months, even 1 month, I wonder how she would start to feel about herself. Because if you have to manipulate yourself to the point that like, okay, you can only feel good about posting this when you look almost nothing like you actually do. Look, from her face to her body, the butt, she's got butt implants. She's got fucking butt implants. Can we all just... Kim doesn't. Kim has fat transfers, which is why her implants don't show up in an x-ray. Khloe has butt implants. You can see the move. Her butt before was perfectly fine. It was perfectly fine. It's just... It's so... I don't get it. And her abs have been carved, like lipo carved. But she also works out a lot. You know, her arms are toned, whatever. Do what you want. I don't care. It's your body. Do what you want. But I have a problem with her representing everything that she's done as hard work when it's not, because we could all exercise. We could do squats until we're blue in the face. We're not going to get a butt that's like a shelf. So I think my advice is this. Ask yourself when you're thinking about social media and posting, and do I Photoshop this picture? And I want to, because I'll look so much better and I'll get more likes and I'll feel so good about myself, even though that's not how I look. And I can look at that photo all day. At some point, I'm going to have to stop looking at it and look at the mirror and be like, oh. And then I'm going to feel bad about myself, because I'm going to look back at that Photoshopped image and be like, I argue that all the time. And I'm going to say, I need plastic surgery. Yeah, that's what I need. A nose job, maybe 2 or 3. And then I won't have any problems ever. It's this insane spiral, and it happens just that fast. Just that fast. How can we avoid this? Maybe Instagram isn't for you. I don't mean this as an act, like maybe it's not for you. Seriously. So one service that I offer is an Instagram review. If you go to my website, shallonlester.com, I'll review your Instagram and tell you what kind of message it's sending. You know, because I always say, your social media is a commercial for you, the brand. And whether you're trying to be an influencer or not, but like, it's sending a message to the world. Is it sending the right message? Are you coming across artsy and mysterious, or like bitter and pessimistic, vapid and hollow, vibrant and optimistic? What message is it sending? And I talked to some of you guys, and when I read your message before I click on your profile, and it's like, tell me what message I'm sending. I really want to make sure, and I want to get my branding right, blah, 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 blah. So I'm expecting to see like someone, you know, not like me, but who's trying to be an influencer, who's really trying to like brand themselves. And I click and I see normal people. Just a normal girl. She's in college. She's working. She's living her life. She's just normal. And I'm like, why are you overthinking this? Enjoy yourself. I'll give you some tips. I always give like some tips. I'm not like, it doesn't matter, because like, who the fuck wants to buy a service? So if someone says that, but you know, I'll still give you tips. But I kind of go back to like, you know what? Don't overthink it. If you're not trying to move a product, and if that product is you, or if it's wooden mallards, girl, have a little fun with it. You don't have to post like the Kylie shots and the edits and the this and the editorial. Some people genuinely like it. I genuinely like it. I'm prepare to be shocked. I'm a chronic oversharer. I live my life out loud. I cannot keep any opinion or any experience to myself. This is my lane. Like, this is what I was born to do. So, and yet I don't stress too much about what I post. I mean, I want it to look good, and I like the artistic aspect of like setting up a shot. I have like an editorial vision in my mind. I come from a magazine background, and that's what I did for a lot of years. I set up photo shoots, you know? So this is very much in my wheelhouse. But there's a difference. My overall, I guess, advice is like, if there is something that requires you to be at risk emotionally or physically, and makes you fundamentally change who you are or how you present yourself to the world, you shouldn't be doing it. Even if everyone else is, even if it's not particularly risky to anyone else. Like I said, being an Instagram influencer or whatever, not risky for me emotionally. That is how I am built. I am built for this job. And Kim always says, she's like, you truly have to be built for this. And you do. But if you're not, if you're like, I'm on vacation and I know I should post a picture and a photo, and I want to take those Kylie shots, but I don't feel comfortable doing it. But I should feel comfortable, because everyone else seems to feel real comfortable getting their ass out on the internet, and they know exactly how to pose. So here I go, walking to the front of the catamaran to take some pictures. Why? Because the mob is doing it? Because weak-egoed losers are doing it? That doesn't have to be you. Think about it in different terms. I love a boat. I can't afford a boat. I can't afford a $10 million yacht. For me to be in like yacht culture, belong to the yacht club, I would bankrupt myself. I would ruin my future. I would put myself in debt. That's risk. And that's a fundamental warping of who I am and how I live my life. So therefore, I can look at that and say, I'm sorry, I can't participate in the yacht life. I have friends who can, thank you. But that's as involved as I can get at this point. If it's a sport, I just love running. It'd be so cool to run a marathon, but can you? If you can't, that's risk. You will not do that thing. Social media has to be viewed the same way. If you don't want to put yourself out there, but you think you should because that's what everyone's doing, everyone who? People who are desperate for attention? People who are living for likes? People who cannot experience anything. They're just trying to capture it. They're that asshole at a concert filming. What are you gonna watch the footage later? Of course you're not. That's what a psychopath would do. Just experience it. Do you need to be part of that tribe? No. What's popular is not always right, and what's right is not always popular. And I don't mean right and wrong in like an ethical way. I mean right for you. And I look at KHLOE and I see what appears to be a fundamental reticence of this lifestyle, of being so public, of posting your body. Why does she seem so fundamentally touchy and not okay with it? Because she absorbs every ounce of criticism. KHLOE has always been a cold-blooded animal, which sucks because she's so funny and she's so cognitive and she's cerebral and she just gets it. Like you listen to her, you're like, oh, girl, you just get it. But then she does these other things. She gets back with cheating fuckboys. You know, she manipulates her face on the internet. And it's like, you're actually not very confident at all. One thing that stood out to me, I'll never forget this episode of the Kardashians. It's when they planned a girls trip to Turks and Caicos, and KHLOE was like very apprehensive about going because she's like, I don't like girls trips. I don't go on girls trips. And that just stuck out to me. I was like, really? Because she seems like she's a real ride or die friend. I mean, she's Malika and, you know, I'm like, she doesn't like girls trips. Most self-conscious girls don't. Most girls who've been like beaten and battered by opinions and the world, whether it's they got bullied in middle school or they had mean sisters or a narcissistic mom or people are talking shit about them on the internet. Yeah, a pack of females seems real risky, real scary, you know? Because females know how to cut you to the bone. Men are only going to say like maybe 3 different things. You're fat, you're ugly, I don't want to fuck you. Right? That's like, okay, I don't want to fuck you. So I'm so glad we're on the same page. Women, they go for the throat, baby. They cut to the bone. They know exactly what to say. You know how I know? I do it myself. Don't come for me and I won't come for you. I don't start fights, I do finish them. So I can see why KHLOE, being in a group of people she doesn't know, has the automatic assumption they're going to hate me. They're going to talk shit about me. I'm going to feel self-conscious. Even if they aren't talking shit, I'm going to imagine that they are, because when I look at the rest of my life, that's exactly what's going on. Everything I post, everything I do, people are talking nothing but shit, right? So why wouldn't they do it on the micro if they do it on the macro? And that makes her very, very untrusting. You get it. You get it. And when we don't feel good about ourselves, what do we want to do? We want to hide behind something, right? Even physically, there's a threat, we want to hide. Protect me. Let me get behind something. It's a pretty universal psychological truth that when people experience trauma, like they can sort of like disappear into a different version of themselves. Like this is in an extreme form, we get multiple personality disorder, right? People who simply cannot inhabit this body that's being molested by their uncle or shuttled around foster care. So they split off into different safe zones. We do that on the micro. We do that on smaller levels. You know, I talk about this in a positive way to zip ourselves into the suit of confidence of someone else. When we have to fake confidence because we have to go to this party, we have to give this speech, whatever, I'm like, picture someone you admire who would be good in this situation. Kourtney Kardashian, your best friend, Shallon Lester, and zip yourself into their suit and pretend you're them. You're playing Kourtney in a play as you go into this club, right? And it helps. It helps. It gives your mind an outlet for that stress. KHLOE does this, but within her own self. She has a persona of herself. I don't know if it has a name. I don't know. It's like an imaginary friend within her own mind that she slips into, and that persona has Facetune, Photoshop, when she doesn't feel confident. It's a spiral that loops around. You don't feel confident because you're posting photos that don't look like you, and then you look in the mirror and you're like, And then you can't be around other females because they're going to be like, wait, what am I looking at? You don't look anything like your photos. And then you just post more photos to get that dopamine rush of, oh, no, this is what I want to look like. And I've created it. I can't create it here. I certainly can't create it in the heart of the mind, but I can create it on Facetune. And that's a lot easier. That's a lot easier than doing the psychological work. I think it's crazy to me Khloe doesn't see a therapist. I remember her talking once about going to a therapist, literally one time that she went with Tristan after the cheating thing. She's like, it didn't go well, so we quit. Therapy is the gym. You don't just do it once, right? And the gym doesn't come find you where you are at TGI Fridays ordering multiple fried appetizers like, excuse me, don't do that. You have to take the lessons from the gym and apply them into your own life. It's a toolbox. But I digress. So I feel like I haven't given you guys like a ton of good advice in this, but it's hard because how do we just solve body image, criticism, and all of this in a 30-minute video? It's something that has gone on for so long, that is so pervasive in our lives in every time in history. This is just, it's just the fuck shit of being a woman. It is. It's just the fuck shit of living and being a woman, and I'm so over it. So one way we can buck this trend is don't engage. Don't engage in this if it doesn't serve you. Like I said, it does serve me. I like it. I don't live for likes. I check my likes as just like a metric of what you guys like to see posted, but it doesn't, I like the creative aspect of posting a photo and picking like the lighting and the adjust. I like that. I don't know. If you don't, girl, it's okay. Absolve yourself from one more thing on your to-do list. You have to be out there on the internet. No, you don't. Live a life of sanity and dignity. Live it for those of us who can't. I want to know your thoughts. I know you guys are going to have some amazing insight on this. Please tell me in the comment section your thoughts and feelings on Coco. And we'll be back with some more videos. See you later, Shalligators.